Well, I'm joined by the Australian's chief cartoonist, Johannes Leak. Johannes, how are you?
I'm well, Jack. Good to see you.
Really good to see you as well. Let's hop straight in because the events in Afghanistan have yielded fair few really good cartoons. Now, this issue, obviously, of the Taliban taking control of Kabul, and then it's really not a great day for women's rights.
No, that's right. And Mark Knight has brilliantly seized on the image of, statue toppling, something that Taliban loves to do. And in this image, he's sort of showing that with the arrival of the Taliban in Kabul and the takeover of Afghanistan by the Taliban, they'll be tearing down all the advances that have been made for women over recent decades. And it doesn't need a caption. It's a very powerful and sad image.
Yeah, well said. And there's also been some issues with the rhetoric from Taliban making its way onto some airwaves, particularly this notion that there's maybe a sensitive New Age Taliban en route.
Yeah, thanks. Well, this is one of mine. And, they're talking about how they're going to reframe the role of women in Afghanistan, according, of course, to the strict framework laid down by Sharia law. And I suppose you only have to look to places like Saudi Arabia to see just how far those freedoms will go. So that's what I was getting at in this cartoon. We've got the spokesman here. I've made it look just like a particular interview that happened a few days ago where a very brave anchorwoman in Afghanistan interviewed this spokesman, and he's saying, look, I don't want to overpromise, but Afghan women can look forward to the sort of empowerment and heady freedoms enjoyed by their sisters in Saudi Arabia.
Crazy stuff, and crazy that a lot of journalists swallowed that one whole. Moving on now, there is a brilliant one here by Warren Brown. Can you walk me through what we're seeing here?
Yeah, look, I thought this one was hilarious. He set this up so that, in their haste to evacuate, the Americans have left behind a bit of hardware. In this case, there's a couple of Taliban fighters trying to work out how to operate a US tank, and he's saying, I can't get this American tank to work. And then the other guy's saying, just make the call. And then, of course, you've got sleepy Joe Biden in bed, and the phone's ringing, and there's the Taliban guy, the Taliban fighter on the other end saying, I'm just ringing to see if you also offer roadside assistance.
Not a great week for Joe Biden at all.
No.
Let's have a look at another one of Warren Brown's here. There's a lot going on in this photo, but I really love the Taliban propaganda unit and the camera, and he's saying, for crying out loud, can't you just try and get in touch with your feminine side?
Isn't it fantastic? And just this evil, scary-looking character, waving the gun and the skull and, machine gun behind him. It's talk about a hard sell, trying to convince anybody that they've changed and that they have women's interests at heart.
Yes, and let's have a look at one of Lethbridge's ones. Roadblock, he's calling it. On your way to Kabul airport. Nope, U-turn back to the 7th century. Yeah,
look, clever, very clever, this cartoon. And I think he's summed up this situation brilliantly, that the Taliban move in and they will do their very best to drag everybody back in time to the 7th century, as he's got here, and he's just really effectively summed that up with that road sign.
Yeah, and speaking of visually demonstrating quite a complicated issue, we've got Joe Biden here hanging on to the end of one of these planes that are escaping out. This really shows he's had a really, really tough time. He is getting smashed from all sides of the political spectrum over this.
Yes, indeed. John Spooner, that was one of the saddest things I think a lot of us have seen in a long time, was that those desperate scenes of people clinging to those Hercules planes as they were leaving Kabul, and those people plummeting to their deaths. He's reversed the situation here cleverly to sort of show that those planes, this plane full of bullet holes and chatty looking old plane represents Joe Biden's presidency, and there he is just barely clinging on. So I think he's very effectively seized on a particular image which was seared into our minds and put a really clever spin on it.
Indeed. Johannes Leak, thank you very much for your insights.